All right. So here we go with two of my favorite people in the world, the intern makers. We got Alejandro and Mariana, and they are two wonderful people. They are doing great stuff. Ale, he has a full-time position at Palantir. Just the name is the coolest thing you can hear. And Mariana she's an upcoming program manager at Microsoft, and we're gonna have them today to talk about how to get internships, how to get special project. They're doing so much stuff. So welcome InternMakers to Now What.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aurelia. Yeah,
it's a pleasure being here.
It's really
and
exciting.
You're also one of our favorite people, so the feeling is mutual.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so I want to ask you, so this is the first time we're registering something like that, so it could be a little bit of a mess of who's talking, but so let's try. This is a project, and that's right. So I want to ask you a little bit about your background, and because I know you have two very interesting stories. So we'll start with Alex. Alex, what can you tell me about the background? Can you walk the audience through your life until the moment you got the job at Palantir?
Oh man, I mean, oof. That will be like a very long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So I was born and raised in Mexico in a small town called Torreon. I was there for like 19 years until I decided to move to the US for college. Yeah, like I didn't have like an easy path to college. Like I got admitted into my dream university, but I could not afford it. So I looked for the cheapest community colleges in Texas, and that's how I got into El Paso, actually. And that's how I started on like my journey in the US. And it was just difficult. Like I struggled to get jobs on campus. Like my first job was like cleaning after events, like cleaning the like floors and bathrooms, and it was not the greatest job, but yeah, like that's what I needed to do to support myself. And afterwards, like I saved some money. I bought like my first computer. I started to learn how to do like web development, and I started to learn all of these skills. And I got like a job on campus as a programmer, and all of those little things like really helped me get some technical like knowledge that I needed, and those things helped me get my first internship at Cummins. I was there working in IT. It was really cool, but I realized that I really wanted to get into software. But when I looked into how to get an internship in software, I saw that it was so hard. You have to work you have to like work and practice a lot of like technical interviews, like coding challenges. They're super hard, and I didn't know how to even start. I didn't know what I needed to do with my resume. So I just started to look for resources in so many different places, and I just thought like I felt like it was very unnecessary to have to look to through all of these different resources just to find how to get an internship. Like I just felt like there should be like one place where everyone could find anything they need, just to get that information. And yeah, like I just felt like that was needed. And yeah, like all of that preparation led me to get an internship at Palantir, and it was amazing, like an amazing experience. Like that internship, I really loved it. And afterwards, like I got my return offer, and for me it was like a no-brainer. Like I'll go back to Palantir. I love the company. I love what we do. I love my experience, so I'll just gonna go back. Yeah, so that's a little bit about my story.
I love that story, and I know you have a lot of background like around that is going to be even more fun. But let's hear from Mariana. Mariana, what's your story, and how did you get into Microsoft? Walk me through your life as well.
So a little bit about myself. I grew up in a really bicultural place. I grew up in the border of Ciudad Juárez, Mexico, and El Paso, Texas. I grew up here, and I've gone to school in El Paso every day since I'm like 7 or 8 years old. And I've always lived in the Mexican side, so it's always been a back and forth between two countries every day for the past, I don't know how many years of my life now. And I think that when I started college, something that was really I guess, impactful for me was the fact that I hadn't noticed that I didn't have mentors or anyone to guide me through what I needed to know. And I remember being in a classroom where somebody kind of like just said, "Hey, can somebody answer this question?" And I I raised my hand. I was the first one in all of the class for the first semester of college to raise my hand, and that led me to my professor saying, "Hey, like we will pay for your membership to an organization in engineering." So also a little bit about my background. I just graduated from University of Texas at El Paso, and I graduated in electrical engineering. So they took me to an engineering organization, and that same like month they had a meeting, and in that meeting they had like officer positions for freshmen, and I got into those. And I got mentors. My mentors kind of told me, "Hey, like this is what you need to know, this is what you have to do." um, and I'm really grateful for that because I'm the first one in my family to study in the US, right? Like I have no one to ask, like, "Hey, am I doing this right, am I doing this wrong?" um, and then I started applying for internships my freshman year, and I didn't get any because I was also an international student, and I didn't know how that game was played. Let's put it that way. But then I continued to apply. I had my first like research experience, which I highly recommend for anyone who doesn't have experience. Like that's a good, easy way to get experience on your resume. So I volunteered a couple of hours. Then that really helped me build my resume. Then I got a scholarship that took me to a conference, and that's where I got my first internship as a sophomore. And my first internship was at Cummins doing controls engineering. And yeah, that's a that's a plot twist. Yeah. So Alejandro and I were both at Cummins the same year, the same summer. And it was awesome. We met a lot of beautiful people, and I came back, and surprisingly, like here's another plot twist. So the same year I got accepted into Cummins, I also interviewed with Microsoft. I got to the final round. I flew out to Seattle, and I didn't get the offer. So when I didn't get the offer, I was really sad, really, really sad. And now that I look back, it's like, wow, things do happen for a reason, 100%. They do happen for a reason. Now that, like, after I finished my internship with Cummins, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I had my first experience here because now I know what I can fix. And that after my internship with Cummins, so that summer, it was summer 2017. Then in fall 2017, I interviewed with Microsoft again. But this time I interviewed in something that I was good at. And I got it. I got an internship in program management in hardware. So nothing to do with software. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into Microsoft. I interned 2 times there. And now I will be starting in August as a full-timer. But yeah, that's the story of a quick summary of everything that explains how I got into Microsoft.
Well, I believe those stories are great. And those stories are two great points and two very useful points for our audience is that both of you came in the US, like me. We're all international students here. So
Yeah, we're all
shout out to the international students. And you both came in there without any knowledge on how to do anything. And Mariana, you were able to find the mentors, and that was what changed you.
Yeah.
And Hale was able to build his own knowledge via programming and via doing things online. So one was building his own knowledge, and Mariana found the mentor. It's two way how to get a job afterwards, and this is a very interesting way. But and we're gonna go through that a little bit more. But right now, I want to talk with you about InternMakers. So we both have a very passionate project that is helping others, helping students.
Of course.
And I want to know a little bit from you. How did InternMakers how was it started? what was the idea? Did you find it together? Did you find yourself after that? Mariana, if you want to start, and Alex can add it.
Yeah. So, well, I think both Alejandro and I are going to be in the same page when we say InternMakers has been an evolution of many things. Like, when we were in college, Alejandro and I met, and we would like talk a lot about how at our university we would see a lot of students who were amazing, like amazing at another level, and they wouldn't get internships nor they would get full-time jobs after graduation, you know? And for us, it was like something really shocking. We were like, but why? So I think everything starts, but like with why? Why, like asking you, why is this happening? So I remember Alejandro and I like having really late night conversations about this and being like, but why? Like, why is this happening? And we realized that, like us, nobody knew how to do it. You know, nobody. And I think it's fair, you know, our university had an 83 or 84% Hispanic population. So that means if we take it like a step further, further, we can like tell that a lot of our parents probably came from another part of Latin America. And this is not like internships and all of that are different, like ball game in Latin America. And our parents probably couldn't even like when I talked to my parents about internships, they didn't know what it was. So I don't know, Alejandro, I don't know if you want to add more to that, but I like my parents would tell me, you're crazy, just like study your summers, graduate as soon as you can so you can get a full-time job, which was what a lot of students were doing because they had the same school as I did, you know, from our parents. So
yeah, for
that's
sure.
kind of like where we found the necessity. So I'll let Alejandro talk more about like the other things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, so we kind of like saw that there was a need to learn more about it. Like, why was it that nobody knows what to do? Why aren't there more resources out there?
Yeah.
And I don't know. We like in our own way, we like started to do like take like smaller steps towards what InternMakers is now. Mariana, like on her side, she was like helping all of her classmates. Like if she had I don't know, a class with someone, or like if she was meeting with someone, she would like ask like, hey, what are you doing next summer, or how are you gonna prepare for an internship, things like that. And like slowly she started to like help some of her friends, some of her like classmates. And on my side, like you know how I mentioned that there were like so many resources that I had to find to know how to get a software engineering internship. And I came up with this guide. It's called like the Getting Your First Software Engineering Internship Guide, which takes you from not knowing how to code to a software engineering internship. It shows you like how to prepare your resume, how to prepare for conferences, how to prepare for interviews, all of those things. And yeah, I started to like show this guide to other students in my school. And yeah, like slowly I started to like show it to like in classrooms or in yeah different events or whatever in the university. And Mariana and I like got together with a couple of other good friends who are also international, and we started like this really amazing organization. It was all like Mariana's idea, and then like we all like made it happen, where we were like teaching like workshops on how to get an internship, and it was like open to all majors for the college. So that was like really awesome.
But literally, like that organization didn't have anything. Like the only purpose was to teach you the fundamentals of getting
Right.
an internship, you know, and everything from like LinkedIn to resumes to cover letters, and it was free. It was free, and I got surprised because a lot of people actually did get internships after going to those workshops. But yeah, and also another thing that we want to mention is one of our biggest motivations was that we are international students and we know the struggle. So those workshops were also rooted for international students. You know, like it's really funny how sometimes we don't see how our stories and our experiences can take us to solving problems that nobody thinks about sometimes, you know. And that's the beauty of innovation. Like it's always trying to solve a problem that you probably went through or see. So yeah, go ahead, Alejandro. Got excited.
No, that's okay. Yeah. So we kind of like started doing all of those things, and we felt like there was like a huge potential to do something bigger. Also, like I was about to graduate, and I was not gonna be able to be on campus anymore helping students. So we thought like, okay, what can we do about it? So yeah, like there were like a few people who gave us like the idea of like starting a YouTube channel, or like starting to having a bigger reach to students. So yeah, we just decided to like start this YouTube channel, and it was at first it was all that, like only that. It was like a YouTube channel where we can post videos and
Our Instagram page.
yeah, I don't know. At first, like the idea was just like the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do a YouTube channel. Let's help people out through videos. That was it. And then we like opened up like an Instagram page. We started to create more content. We thought, okay, let's just add, like, for the people that don't wanna watch a full video, let's just add like some tips, some different ways we can help them with like images and stuff like that. And it like slowly started to grow more and more. Yeah. Do you wanna add a little more, Mariana?
Yes. So that's how we started, and it wasn't until late December that we actually started like promoting InternMakers in like LinkedIn, at LinkedIn, or on LinkedIn. And I think it's been good. You know, we've learned so much on InternMakers. It's beautiful to receive messages that say, hey, like this helped me out a lot. I think that even though like it's barely started, I think, in my personal opinion, it has been a way to give back to what we've like helping just someone have an easier time. You know, we don't want anyone to go through a hard time like we did. And what else was I gonna say?
I don't know.
You cut that, okay?
Well, but I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
And about one thing that is definitely very cool for me that I didn't know is about the workshops. So do you remember exactly? Can you walk me through one of the workshops that you were given at the university? How was it structured? What kind of people were in there? There was interest about it. How did you put the voice at the university? Can you just give me a little bit more of sauce of the workshop story? Who wants to go? Ale, do you want to go?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I really like graphic design. So it was helpful, for me, like to be able to, I don't know, we came up with a logo, we came up with a name. I worked like on the flyers. So we had like a good way of showing ourselves to people. We started to like promote the event on social media, on different places in the college, and
Organization as well.
Correct. Yeah, we set like a specific topic for each week, and we would tell people like, okay, these are all the different workshops that we're going to cover. For example, like one of them was resumes. Another one was only for international students. That was a really cool one because we gave a lot of really useful information for students who are looking for jobs, and a lot of this information, like the career services office, like they don't know, or even the international students office, like they don't know some things. So it was really like cool and useful for us. Like now that we got to that side, we got internships as international students to like share that information. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Do you want to add something else, Mariana?
We also had a workshop for conferences, which was really cool.
Yeah.
It was literally only focused on career fairs and how you can do it. It was really nice because the people who were in that workshop, I remember telling them that the first time I ever went to a career fair, I spent an hour there and I didn't speak to anyone. You know, that's how I started. And that was my freshman year, and I left and I didn't talk to anyone. So I feel like something that we wanted to do was also feel relatable, feel like, hey, they were once in my shoes, I can do what they are doing, right? So in the one about current conferences, it was really nice because we showed them everything, like many times, well, in case someone is listening to this, but many times, yeah, almost all the time, conferences have a portal where you can upload your resume, and even before you get to the career fair, you already have an interview, you know? So we were showing them this like tips and tricks for that. There's also a video on YouTube about that if anybody who's listening is interested on that. And yeah, that was also one of my favorite ones. Also, like we kind of, I remember we told them a little bit about like the dress code and all of that, you know. Yeah, that's kind of about it with workshops. There were many more, but that's a lot of details.
Yes.
I would love for you to go in a little bit more details if you want. Like, I would like to know what kind of topics do you have about especially like the international student like workshop. What did you have in there, right?
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit in there?
Yeah, for sure. So many people that attended that workshop, they didn't know about CPT, OPT. These are like the work permits that you get as an international student on an F1 visa, right? So of course, like all universities have workshops for like about these topics, but not all students go and like proactively check those things out, you know. So for us, it was basically saying like, hey, are you an international student and you want to get a job or an internship? Attend this workshop. And it was like the narrative is a little bit different because like we are students as well. We went through this. We're not the school just sharing some information, you know. So we told them about some of these things, some good stories of people that we know that already got their OPTs because at the moment we were still students. So we shared a lot of information about that and like some things that you should not do when you're applying, some companies that you should not apply to, or basically tips of like how to focus on certain companies that sponsor more visas, stuff like that.
How to find those companies.
Exactly.
Also, like understanding what future sponsorship will mean, things like that, you know. Also, we have, well, you also have to remember that at UTEP, the majority are also Mexican, right? So in case anybody who's listening who's Mexican or Canadian, there are special visas for them because of the NAFTA treaty between the US, Canada, and Mexico, right? So we also explained that. So we went like a little bit into that, but just as a disclaimer, if you're listening to this, always do your own research, always question everything and everyone. Like you're responsible of your legal status, right? Like of what you know. So never take anybody's just like advice for like that's it. Like go on and investigate more about it for sure.
Ale, do you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I agree to everything Mariana said. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think it's important to listen to advice to guide yourself a little bit. But yeah, as Mariana mentioned, like always do your own research. There's something about me like I don't know. It's not that I don't trust people, but every time someone tells me like, oh, you should do this because whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some research.
Search.
Yeah, and I'll let you know if it's true. But yeah, like I think it's the same when it comes to recruiting. Like if someone tells you like, hey, the deadline is whatever, like you can go check just to make sure. Or someone tells you like, hey, you should put this on your application. Yeah, just check first that it's fine. But yeah, I agree with what she said.
Wonderful. And those are wonderful tips. And we are going to leave the links down for the videos that are going to go a little bit deeper into those researches, into those searches that the InternMakers did. And those are great. But then I want to focus a little bit now on the transition from the workshops to the online community, right? To the videos on YouTube. How did you decide to do the video? What kind of videos did you do? And how did the online community started? Because right now it is a pretty big community and you are helping a lot of students. A lot of students are on your page all the time.
Yeah, I'll take Mariana, take this one.
Yeah.
And then
So, oh my God, it has been an evolution, you know. It's been a lot of trial and error. It's been a lot of being really like observing, you know, a lot of like we're engineers, right? So we had no idea about like the marketing world, the social media world, and there's so much behind it. Like honestly, it's really challenging. It is. It's challenging to know what is going to attract your audience and what is not. But at the end of the day, I think we focused more on, okay, what if I were them, what would I like to know? You know, we kind of stopped focusing about, okay, like what grabs the audience, but instead focusing on how are we bringing value to them. So we've tried and tried many things, and if you look at our first videos on YouTube, like I don't want to look at them, you know. They're
Just for
bad.
a disclaimer, we're going to leave the link of those videos
Oh,
as well.
They're okay, they have good information,
yeah,
but if you look at a video, so our first video went live, I think July 31st,
yeah.
literally. So it's almost gonna be a year since our first video. And honestly, like
Congrats.
if you look, yeah, like I mean, it's been a journey, right? So if you look at us talking in camera now, it's a whole other person. You know, it's like it is true. Like you can never get better if you never like start it or if you never continue to do it. You know, and of course, for us, like we knew it was not the best, but like we knew that it had to happen for us to get to a better point, right? So that's on the videos. And then on Instagram, we also started thinking more like more about, okay, what can we do to not just give tips but also like maybe something more specific. And that's something that we've been doing, I think, already for the past 6 weeks. We've been highlighting different companies every week where we interview someone and they have the YouTube video as well. For example, we already had one for how I got into Microsoft, how I got into Palantir, how I got into Google, how I got into EY, how I got into IBM. And we're doing this weekly where like students that are not us share with everybody tips on how they can get into into that company. So it's been an evolution of things that we've always wanted to do, but sometimes when you start, you have so many plans that they take time that you can't do them all at once, right? So for anyone who is like starting their own project, just know that like you're gonna get there. It just sometimes takes longer because of if you're only like one person or two, it takes a long time to do all the things. So that was like an evolution of InternMakers. Of first it was only us, then we said, hey, like why don't we bring more people? And that happened, and now we're getting more into workshops and live streams. So yesterday we had our first Q&A session. Every Wednesday we do a Q&A session for 30 minutes.
Okay,
And it started yesterday, and it's on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And we just let people ask us anything they want. Like we don't have any topic. It's just like, hey, come here, learn whatever you need, ask whatever you need. And it was so fun. I had so much fun yesterday. And it felt good to be connected to the community, you know. I don't know if Alejandro wants to add more.
yeah. I mean, you basically said it all. But like, I think I would like to emphasize like on this, like how I got into series. Like we are so excited about this series because we truly think that stories can, like one story can change your life, and we want to get as many stories as we can, as many different backgrounds out there. And it's not like just how to get into a tech company. Like no. Like we want to teach you how to get into any company in the world. Like we want to hear stories from all different backgrounds, all different companies. And for example,
different industries.
yeah, exactly. Like in one same company, like in a tech company, you could be a software engineer, you could be a mechanical engineer, you could be in marketing, you could be in design,
And finance, HR.
exactly, HR, yeah, recruiting. So these are very different positions that require very different skills with people from very different backgrounds for one same company. You know, so we're trying to get all of those things together. And yeah, like if we can just get that story to one person, and that person can get motivated and inspired, and they can do better with their plans or whatever they want to do, we're good. Like that's what we are aiming for. We believe that, like, yes, we are the intern makers, but we believe that anyone who shares a story can become an intern maker, can help like someone else become an.
Well, let me say something on that, because we are on a very similar cast here as Now What and InternMakers, and I love what you do, guys, because it's exactly what I want to do. I believe the power of storytelling is much more powerful than any other things, because you need to relate with the people that are doing what you want to do, and you need to see them, and you need to see that those people are flesh and bones, and you need to see that they have flaws, and they are gone through process, and they have gone through all the kind of things, and they were in the exact same position that you were, but they wanted to change, and they wanted to get that thing, and it is very important to see that. And another thing that I want to add, so as I did that without any prior experience, as the intern makers did that as without any prior experience, it is very easy for whoever is listening to us to start something that is going to help others. And it is going to change. It is going to change things. It is going to change how you see things. It is going to change how people see you. So I strongly encourage to start something on yourself. And if you know something, give back. Even if you don't have anything, give back, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mariana, you want to say?
Yeah, I want to add something to what you said. I feel like sometimes people think they have to do something really big to change the world, or they have to find like the most, I don't know, like biggest idea or something. Sometimes like keeping it simple is really good, you know. Focus on what you want to do, why you want to do it, how you want to do it. And I feel like that's a good starter for a lot of us. But I just want people to know that like InternMakers started by helping classmates. You know, you start doing things indirectly that transform into bigger things. A small action has a big reaction, you know. I feel like InternMakers started probably like without us knowing 3 years ago, right? And I feel like right now it's barely getting to the point where it's like, okay, now it's not just a small action. It's now we have a community and everything. But I just want anybody who's listening to think about that. You know, your small actions really do dictate a lot of what happens, you know, and I think that's beautiful. You know, that means that you don't have to do a huge thing to change anybody or anything for good. And yeah.
They started us with classmates. I started with recording a call. That's it. And that's everything you need. That's everything you need. Just the small things. Just do it, man. Just do it, because when you do it, then you're going to go with the flow, and you're going to learn. And even if it is for you or not, but I strongly recommend that, because I've been able to meet all those wonderful people, including them, especially them, through the podcast, because I did that little call. Okay, guys, but it is almost, I don't want to steal a lot of your time. And I have a couple of questions that I really want to go through. And one for Alex is, if you can go back to your freshman year of college, okay, so when you just started, what skills would you invest on early on? And what would you do differently? What would you keep the same? 3 questions.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Well, I say it's a tough one because if I were to change something back then, I would not be here. It would be like something completely different. Maybe InternMakers wouldn't exist. I don't know. But thinking of where I was at that moment and thinking of the things that I needed, one, I would say if you can find a mentor, that's amazing. Like I never had a mentor to this day. I haven't. And yeah, so that is super helpful because it's someone that you can ask anything that you want, or just to grow. That's one. The other one would be to learn about internships, like learn that there are internships out there for freshmen and sophomore students. There are some of the top tech companies in the world, like they hire freshmen and sophomore students. You should know that. So research those companies and see what you have to learn. You have to practice algorithms, you have to practice data structures, you have to like start learning how to code like properly, and practice for interviews. Like those are like the most important things. Like if you know how to practice for interviews, both behavioral and technical, and you don't do any research about opportunities, you'll be lost. And like doing all of that, it also leads you towards getting a resume and preparing your resume, things like that. So I know it's kind of vague, but I think those are like the things that
No, but I believe are very important, because the earlier you start, the more you have time to go in depth about those things that are very important. I didn't know about internship until my junior year.
yeah, same for
And
me.
no, and if sophomore year, let's say sophomore, because I started researching on myself. But if we are international students, internationals don't know about that. We don't have the same mentality. Internship does not exist. And in our countries, you get inside a company just with a push. you, you, you don't get interviews. You don't get those kind of things. And you don't have the Googles and the Facebooks and the Apples of the planet. You don't have it with us. So it is, maybe we should teach high school students, senior year high school students, to do so. And I think it could be wonderful. But you're doing great jobs, and so thank you for that, Alex. So in order to recapitulate, you just learn from the beginning, just be interested from the beginning. And Mariana, what would you say? What skills would you invest into? What would you do differently? What would you keep the same?
I think that
you can talk about even technical skills, yeah. So if you want, I don't know, Python example, or I want to learn about a specific software or something like that, what would you do?
So in my perspective, engineering has so many pathways, right? I'm a program manager, so I feel like I do have a technical background, but I don't, like, what I've seen is like I don't always do like a lot of technical stuff, like hands-on. So I'm going to talk from my experience. I feel like I think Alejandro's perspective is really different from mine, because I'm someone who really likes a lot of like organizational stuff, leadership stuff. I don't know how to like go more about that, but what I would say is,
you can change it completely. We want to hear all the
yeah,
different
I'll
best.
just change it completely. Like for me, I feel like emotional intelligence is really important. You can develop it. A lot of people don't see it as valuable as like IQ, let's put it that way. I think like emotional intelligence can make a huge difference for you in everything that you do. You know, you're always going to work with people, and working with people requires you to have emotional intelligence. You know, the higher you can develop it, the better. You know, I think I would really tell someone who's a freshman, start reading about emotional intelligence, start exposing yourself to situations where you're going to work with people. Because at the end of the day, that's what you do. Like at your internships, you're only working with people, and if you don't know how to communicate well, even if you're like really good at like the technical stuff, I feel like people really do care working with the person as well, you know? So I would recommend that, like looking into emotional intelligence. I also I took I like, if you look at my resume is full of more like leadership stuff, more like starting things, planning, all of that. And if you look at like another engineer, they might have like a lot of skills for, I don't know, like AutoCAD, MATLAB, all of that, which are things I do have, but like kind of a high level place, not as like deep as I should, you know. And I'm saying this because if there's any engineer out there that feels like, hey, I'm studying engineering, but I don't feel like I want to be like a hardcore engineer, there are positions for that. You know, there are positions where it's required that you know and understand it, but they want you more like in the organizational side. And I think that's okay. That's okay that if you're an engineer and don't want to be like a really technical person, I feel like that is okay. There's people that prefer to be so, and that is okay as well. You know, there's people who are more into like product design. There's people that are more into executing a plan. So I would say that like if you're interested more in the organizational stuff, design stuff, start focusing on projects that give you that, developing those skills. I would also recommend to really invest yourself in going to programs, like exploratory programs. I know that like even like finance companies have exploratory programs for engineering and tech, like people in STEM world. Um, and I think those really help you to build your network as well. I've been in contact with a lot of people I met my freshman year, and honestly, seeing them grow has been amazing. I feel like all of us started to grow together, and now I think we look back 4 years ago, and it's like, wow, like we we really did find each other, and it's amazing that we keep that communication. So to summarize it, I would recommend 100% to um, find good people to be around. That really makes a huge difference in I think my life. Like that's what I could say. Like I've been surrounded by amazing people who always push me to do better and be my best self. And I feel like you find those people when you do things that you're passionate about. If you start doing things that you like, that's where you will find those people as well. If you're someone who's really like I don't know, like curious to get more and ambitious, you're going to find those people. So find them; they'll help you so much. And what I said, about the emotional intelligence, and I don't know what other thing I said.
You said about organization, or
Organizations.
Organizational things, and that you can be an engineer without wanting to be a hardcore engineer, and that is something that I relate to personally. Personally, I'm interested in the intersection between business and tech.
And engineering, exactly. And that's exactly a lot of what like goes in program management, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Product management, product management, program management, all those kind of things that are intersection. But it is also very, very important what Alex said, that you need to focus on your skills, because the technical, not everybody has the organizational skills and they want to do those kind of things. So you can focus on both. Like I think me and Mariana, we tend to go more into the organizational space. Alex is tending to go into hardcore engineering and to have skills, technical skills that we will never have. and this is important. Yeah, and this is important to understand. If you want a niche, if you want to get into engineering, you got to find your own niche, right? And within your niche, you need to implement those skills and always be curious and always be wanting to learn. The same thing as it is. So it all starts with a very deep self-exploration of yourself and what you want to do. And guys, be curious. Be curious. Just be curious and go for opportunities. Just connect with people. So yeah, that was what I had to say about that.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to add something?
When you said like be curious, I think that's the secret. Question everything. When you see somebody doing something, ask them, hey, how did you get that opportunity? Why are you doing that? Why is it going to help? I feel like that has taken me to so many places. Just like being really curious. When I see somebody do something really cool, I always ask, okay, how did you find that opportunity? How can I find it myself in the future? And the reality is that a lot of things you only learn by asking. You don't know everything, so don't be afraid to ask.
Alex?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you make your goal to be learning, you will get far. I mean, if you just try to learn, that's amazing. And I also agree, like, even if you are purely technical, even if you only want to be great at that like technical side, like that's gonna take you just like so far. Like there's still a lot you have to learn and do to be better and like grow in a company or grow in like different ways. So yeah, like definitely having like leadership experience, that's also important, and being involved in like different ways or different places and activities where you can learn soft skills and improve them and like practice them. It's also really good.
At the end of the day, it is all about people. It is all about who you surround yourself with. It is all about who you connect with, who are the people around you and whatever you can do with people, because even if you're the most technical person, you will need to manage other people in a near future. So you will need those skills as well. Or not, you cannot sit in front of a computer for the rest of your life. You need to connect with people and be able to do so. So guys, I had a blast during this interview, and I really, you are two of my favorite people in the world. And we probably gonna have a round two. Maybe we're gonna continue this collaboration, because I'm sure we have a lot more to talk. So do you have any parting thoughts for the audience? Do you want to say something at the last thing to our audience? Alex, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we said a lot of like really good information. I mean, just keep going at it. Like it's not gonna be easy. You will sometimes feel like everything's going against you, but as long as you keep going, you'll get there. Yeah, just like trying to learn, try to get those opportunities. It's never too late to start. I literally started my journey when I was a junior, so I was already in my third year, and that's when I started to like look into internships. So yeah, you can make it as well.
Mariana?
I would really recommend for people to try new things. You are not going to know what you like if you don't try new things. Like there might be something that you don't know you like, and maybe just like dedicating like a couple of weeks to knowing if that's something you like or not is a really good idea. I also recommend for all of you to make a timeline for yourself. You know, any goals that you have right now, doesn't matter what you are, ask yourself, what do I need to get there? You know, break it down. If that
This is the program manager talking.
Yeah, right. I really do think so. You know, I feel like when you have a goal, it's really hard to get to it if you don't know how. So in anything in life, if you're looking to get into a goal or something, break it down, find people who can help you. If one of the biggest lessons I've had in my life is you cannot do anything by yourself. You're always going to need someone to help you. And that goes for anything. Like always, like leave your egos aside, leave your pride. Always ask for help. Always, and you're gonna get really far doing that. And I think that's all I had to say.
Great. As organization now, what InternMakers, they are always supporting each other, and I really like working with you guys, and I think the audience is going to take a lot of values from there. So thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for being in Now What, and I'll see you soon.